Welcome to AITV Starship.
Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that are made. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Tool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Laugh innovation.
Oh, we're starting it, baby. Yeah, just like Artemis.
Hey, Rick.
We're taking off from NASA, and we already have.
I'll tell you what, though, you got to be careful because anybody watching this back on YouTube is going to have absolutely no idea what we're talking about because you can't see the pre-show comments. So you got to set the stage. We're a few minutes late on our live stream today.
Yeah, because
I wasn't going to say anything. You're offering it up
like
in the
Artemis.
comments.
Yeah, my toilet blew up right as I'm getting everything ready. So we're gonna do what NASA would do, right? Houston, we have a problem. The problem's a toilet. So we got somebody going to spend $300 to come over and say hello. Guess what jobs are completely safe in AI, Brandon? Yes, plumbers.
Well,
they're locked and
once
loaded.
your waterproof robot comes over and with ChatGPT 5.5, you could probably just have your browser fix your toilet at this point. I think is where we're going.
That's the connector I'm waiting for. It said like my healthcare, my DNA. I can just port it right in there. All the large language models are speaking to everybody except the water toilet. So I mean, if Artemis can have the problem, I figure that's
we don't have
just
the toilet connector yet.
What is that thing? OPP. I'm down with OPP. Other people's problems or something. That feels like
I did not use that toilet the entire time I stayed with you while we were hacking.
I know, because it wasn't working. It wasn't working. All right, now we got to explain that, Brandon. Okay, so first of all, the first thing we got to show you is like a really cool deal, and that is what we did this last weekend. So Brandon, the producer, came from beautiful Cleveland. What kind of temperature did you leave there with Brandon?
25 degrees.
25 degrees. And when you got here, how warm was it?
It was in the 70s. It was warmer.
It was in the 70s. It was nice. Yeah. So we had a couple of days. He came down Friday night and stayed to Sunday and had a great time. And I'm sure your kids missed you, but man, we sure had a hell of a time. They
did, but they love their lobsters. We got our lobsters from you, Rick. Thank you very much.
Finally. Yeah. So you got lobsters. Oh, you're not wearing your dangerous
I got a new hat. Yeah, it's up in my closet right now.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'll go get it during the end of the show.
Okay. So, yes, he has a dangerous man hat. And yes, we are moving ahead with all our things. But as usual, we promised at the beginning of every show, we're going to give you something. And I'm going to give you a couple of things real quick. To start with, I'm going to give you Notebook LM Super Hack. So if you could type this in to the prompt here. So I'm going to take a look real quickly. This is my Notebook LM guide. Can you see that on screen now? Are we there, Brandon?
You can now.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to come back over. Yeah, I'm going to kind of pump it into the. Hold on. There it is. So when you go try that right now, you're going to be able to go to where I am right here. This is the master plan. So at the bottom, let me show you what you got going on here. 80 different styles, 9 different categories. This works on your phone too, by the way. So if you like steampunk, that's what it will look like. And this is what it does. So it's Victorian brass gears, copper pipes, steam gauges, technical blueprint, overlays, blah, blah, blah. And then here's the cool part. Guess what? You come down here, you hit click, and then you go over to Notebook LM, and I'll just kind of pick one here for no good reason. This is not a good place to use it. You go over to your slide deck, and you hit paste. And then that is, in fact, at the end, it says, if you got any special things you wanted to talk about. Now, this is modern art movements and the philosophy of sensation. So this makes no sense whatsoever, but you're about to see basically this notebook LM with this particular one. Now, we're going to talk about Upskill USA today, and that's going to be the second thing we're going to talk about. And we're going to gift that to you as well. But here's your big takeaway for today. One, follow people like us that just kind of, at the deep end of the pool for now. And as you're learning how to swim, here's something I learned today, because there was this great seminar. What's his name? Tony Robbins has a seminar in AI now. I mean, it's just amazing. So I last saw Tony Robbins when he was on the Moonshot guys, and he was really good. And he's now starting they had 2 million people online today. And Brandon, if you can find it, I'd love to get the link to it. I'll put it in there later if I remember, right? So tomorrow and the next day for 4 hours, you can still get in. In fact, you can get the downloads to see everything you missed today, which was really good. I watched it for an hour and a half to get some ideas. And here was my big takeaway. And I'm going to show you later the slide for it. But let me finish up with this first. So what is this? I'm going to be speaking to the NISOD, which is a national, it's basically for educators, right? Next month. And I'm going to be going there talking about Notebook LM and how to use it for educators. So this has been put into categories. If you take a look at the bottom, so here's the STEM sciences. So if you're doing STEM, here are some pre-made sort of visual effects, if you wish, that are ready to go in STEM. Here's literature and humanities. And there's 80 of them, and they're in 9 different categories. So across the bottom, if you get to the website, take a look at, here's art history. Yeah, if you want a surrealist kind of thing. So all you do is you read it, and you can tell you what it's best for, a little bit about what it's trying to do here. And then you click on this. So you just tap, boom, it's copied. You can see it right there. So basically, all of them start with this little prompt. It says, given all the source documents, give me the most powerful concepts and ideas in the style of, and then it goes into surrealism, cubism, impressionism, etc. And there's more and more. One of my favorite recent ones is African American art legacy history. That's kind of cool. And how about the ukiyo-e woodblock print? Wow. So if you've got something that you want to be done in and these are really interesting ones. So this one's called anachronistic irony. So that means that if you want to talk about during Plato's time, AI, this is fantastic. In fact, this is one I'll kick off real quick. And I'm just going to go over that same one that I just did for the art movements here. I'm just going to go ahead and just put another one in there. And you can just sit there and try these out. And if you have specific things that you want to do, let me see. I've probably got one. So, this is in National Geographic style. So every photograph is like National Geographic. I mean, look at these gorgeous pictures. This is really cool. The aesthetic. So this is about aesthetics, but it's being done through the lens of this particular style. And our mutt, there you go. There is some surrealist artwork going on there. The Death of Reason with Dada in World War II. So it's using photojournalism in the style of National Geographic to talk about fine art and the meaning. I mean, what gorgeous pictures these are. I mean, I wish this is in Iceland. I know, because I've seen the picture before. So it's kind of like trained on these famous photographers. So the idea is that each one of these things takes the corpus of information that you put in. And the beauty of this little trick I've done for you is that if you're doing, we got to talk about your application too, Brandon, the cooking one. Are you queued up to talk about that one too today? I'm not hearing you. I hope we're still on the air.
Tonight, sometime.
Okay. Oh yeah, sorry, I was just muted. But yes,
okay.
I am and I can, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my favorite ones, if you want to try one right now, Mad Magazine style, and that's down in the pop culture and entertainment division. Also fantastic is basically anything to do with Superman. That's really cool. Another kind of cool thing about Notebook LM is this cool new thing they just did. I'm going to switch over my accounts here real quickly. And that is that they now have the ability to see beautiful previews for each one of your images. So here's some ones I just did right now. So here is Mad Magazine right here. And you can see, oh, there's Mad Magazine. There's Superintelligence. This doesn't look much like Superintelligence. So idiots building, right? So that one that I just showed you, this Mad Magazine, this is the usual gang of idiots build to God. What? Me worry? A survival guide to AGI, alignment, and extinction. I mean, this is what you get. So it not only takes the visuals, but it takes the content and puts it in the form of this kind of thing. So here's the
I like the homage
slide.
to Clippy there. That's nice.
Right. You got Clippy in the corner. You got like AGI is already here. It's already here. Where did this information come from? It's trained on the entire internet. Task summarizing just like 5 pillars of AGI. Right there it is. So this is really interesting information to start with. And let me show you where I got it from, because the sources are basically all of these things about superintelligence, the singularity. So I basically researched that, and then now you can see it.
Let me help you
land the plane on that one.
Steer this plane towards an airport. I'm afraid of landing the plane.
So this is a gift. This is a gift for you. And basically, all you have to do is go to notebooklm, Rick McCauley, .com. Boom, you're there. Have fun. Go crazy.
So
and
what
if
you
have
created, just so I understand it,
yes,
is a visual style template
guide for Notebook LM.
For Notebook
That's
LM.
it.
So
That's
it's whatever content that you're interested in, be it real estate or cooking, and you want to create a Notebook LM, but you want to create it in a visual style that is maybe in the form of Mad Magazine or National Geographic. These are the prompts that you would use to convert your generic Notebook LM into something artistic.
There you go. Let's say, for example, you're a journalist. A murder board, which is a detective evidence board, basically, would be a cool thing to use. So if you're talking about social justice and civil rights and political movements, this is one of my favorites. Good old Shepard Fairey, who is all about politically sort of Banksy mixed with Shepard Fairey kind of thing. Look at how beautiful that is. And then if you want something like for your notebook, this would be a cool one for talking about bees, investigative journalism. So this category is called investigative and analytical. Data dashboard. This is like the news kind of dashboard colors.
We're gonna let the Notebook LM people know about this, because this is very, very cool.
I think so. And then even historic specifics. So if you're doing Renaissance, this is going to give you a Renaissance portrait style. So yeah, I think, I'm going to be working for them eventually. Oh, this is also my favorite. So this is Victorian newspaper layout. It's great for talking about anything Victoria, Tale of Two Cities, let's say, right? Or about Elizabeth and England. Fantastic. Historical era, ancient scroll papyrus, Egypt, perfect, right? So I've kind of curated and done this again for the educators mostly, and I put them into 9 categories. My goal is to have 200 in 10 different categories, so 20 per category. And that's where I'm going with it. And I'm going to take some out because they're kind of lame, just to be honest with you. And I did this in Manus with Claude basically setting up. So I had Claude take all of my Notebook LM styles, figure out which ones were the best, and suggest to me how to put them in the categories. Then I fed that to Manus, which basically constructed this entire website. And then I used, I think I did end up, I used all 3. I used a trifecta. I think I came back over to our good old Perplexity, which we're paying $200 a month for. I got to say that on the air so I can know my tax people will get how much this stuff does, right? And then to implement it and to finalize it. And then I've gone back and forth and fixed it a couple times, and I'm still working on it. It's even got a link there if you want to find out everything about me. There I am. So there's my website, everything else. So take a look at it. rickmccauley.com. If you just go for that, you're going to have everything else about me. All right. So let's switch gears, and we're going to go over to what we did this weekend. What did you do this weekend, Brandon?
Went down and saw some friends in Miami and hung out. And actually, I got to give them props. Emerge Americas, I'm wearing the shirt. They were gracious hosts for their hackathon. They fed us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we had a great time hacking away with Lovable and a couple of other sponsors. But this is the end product of what we built in 9 hours. And I got to tell you, we didn't think we were building Upskill USA when we flew down there. When I left for the airport on Friday, I thought we were curing cancer.
Yes. Yeah, we had a detour.
And
when they
so
decided to change the rules at the last minute. Wasn't too happy about that. But
that is the nature of hackathons. So we started out with 3 tracks, one of which was a healthcare track, and the other one was an enterprise track. And while we were on our way down there, a day before the event, they go, just kidding, we're only going to do the enterprise track. And so we scrambled and went to plan B. And so, when plan A fails, relax, you've got 25 more letters. And we figured it out.
Yeah.
So, you've heard us talk about Upskill USA on the show before. And Rick has even vibe coded, with the help of Perplexity Computer, a really cool dashboard that's based on Andrew Karpathy's vision of what upskilling America looks like.
Oh yeah.
But we had to slide this in. We had to slide this in to a very specific category of how can we apply this to enterprise companies, and how can we bring value to enterprise companies? So I think, Rick, you were going to show the demo here, the demo reel that we came up with.
Yeah. So before I do that, I wanted to, because you did remind me that I already had this in the can, and guess how you get there? You go right here, and you go to this. There we go. There's Upskill USA. This is Andrew Karpathy. So this is basically, what's the job market
version 1.0.
Yeah, this is version 1.0. And it tells you, as this is Andrew Karpathy's, actually his GitHub repo duplicated. So I literally had it copy and paste it. So this leads to right to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So you can see what we did with it. We added some more guts to it. And then you go over here and you check out the actual job. So this was set up originally, which is part of a real thing, and I'll show you later, as we've talked about on the show. So I don't want to go too far on that. But basically, so while you're there at notebooklm.rickmccauley.com, just put upskillusa.rickmccauley.com, and you get that other one I just showed you, which you can go in there and do the audit. Pretend that you are number 4 category, take the test, see what you think of it. And then now let's get back to what we actually did here. So you want to explain it, Brandon, because this was not where I was headed, but you took us to an extremely beautiful place. Can you explain the concept of what we did?
Yeah. So what we realized,
should we have the video do it for us? Why don't we watch the video?
I'll set it up just a little bit. And so what we started with was Rick's Upskill USA idea. And this is where Perplexity Computer really shines, because it gives you the ability to synthesize data at speed and scale. And so Perplexity Computer, by the way, if you have it available, if you have at least Perplexity Pro or higher, and
$20 a month, it's a pizza, baby. It's a pizza. That's what I'm keep telling you. And you want a pizza, and plus it has Claude built in and ChatGPT, so you don't even have to make a decision about which model you want to use. You got them all, baby, and it's an orchestrator. So you're the conductor. So I'm sorry.
And so what we did was we gave Claude and Perplexity Computer all of the data on the hackathon, what they were looking for, what the criteria was, how they were judging it, who the judges were. And then we gave it our original scope of Upskill USA, which is what Rick just showed you. And we said, marry these 2 ideas together. And this is what the end result was.
Enterprise AI is at a breaking point. Over 70% of AI initiatives fail to scale beyond pilot. Millions are being spent, with little to show in operational impact. Not because the technology doesn't work, but because the approach doesn't. AI has been deployed top-down. The C-suite defines the vision. It manages the systems. But the people who actually do the work, they're not part of the solution design. The future of AI isn't top-down. It's employee-driven, governed by IT, and aligned to the business. At Upskill USA, we don't replace your workforce. We upgrade it. Start with a free audit. Let your employees take the assessment. Then map every role to 3 outcomes. Automate, augment, author. Because the companies moving fastest aren't removing humans, they're amplifying them. Employees enter the emulation station, where they break down their work, identify inefficiencies, and build AI-powered workflows tailored to what they actually do. Every action is structured, every output is measurable, and it maintains full governance and control. This isn't a future state conversation. Your employees are already solving problems every day. Without AI, the question is, how much longer can you afford that? Upskill your people. Unlock what already exists inside your organization. And turn AI from experimentation into execution.
Holy shit. That is just, it still blows me away. I'm still looking at this thinking, who is that voice? I want that voice. And it's going to be mine, actually, because I'm going to clone myself. And that's the little tweak I'm going to put on top.
So I want to say, first of all, we didn't win, and we found out afterwards. And you're like, how could that not win? We found out afterwards they used AI to judge the top 5, and the humans didn't get involved until after the top 5 seeds were picked. We would have built a completely different experience for the tutorial had we known that AI was going to be our judge. But we stand by the product. We're very happy with the way it came out because what we've actually built is a working prototype where you can type in any enterprise company into the search. And then we have a lead magnet. So you put your email address in. So we capture your email. And then once you put in your email address, it gives you an audit that what it does is it looks at your website and uses Firecrawl to analyze the content of the website. And then it uses an API connection to look at the backend publicly available data. So if you're ever trying to find the number of a CEO and you Google it and you say, oh, for $1, we can give you the guy's cell phone number. We're using that back-end data repository to figure out how much money is trapped by not using AI. So Broward College, for example, is losing $24.3 million a year by not fully deploying AI. And so then what the system does is it figures out how each employee, based on what they do, can upskill themselves. And we've broken that into 3 categories. We've broken that into automation, the boring parts of your job that you didn't want to be doing anyway. You just fully hand over control to AI. The parts that you can automate or augment with AI. So you're still having human in control in the loop, but AI is doing most of the heavy lifting. And then the parts that you author or you own, you put your signature on and say, this is my unique component to this. And we break that down. And so, this prototype is fully vibe coded in 9 hours, and that video, it was a collaborative effort between Google Vids, which did all the B-roll, the Suno, which was the spoken word and the music, and my authorship of editing that thing together in 12 minutes before the end of the contest. So we put it all together and shipped it, and that was the end result. And I will put I'm going to put the link in the I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Yeah, and you got to check out the video, but the video is built in. So when you go to it, put in your own company. I'm kind of curious what you're going to find out. So where's that data going? Are we actually getting anybody's stuff here when we do this?
I mean, we're not retaining it. We're giving it to them. We're not saving it. We get their email address.
But you get an email address, and I just downloaded this report. So this is Broward College. This is who I work for. There's 3,450 employees there. There's a few more than that, so that number is a tiny bit off. And this is the annual cost of inaction. And I bet you, man, my boss would love to know about this thing, right? And the competitive gap, cumulative loss, if competitors deploy AI before you, we're way behind. Of course, I'm getting paid what I 35% less than the day I started work because the cost of living is up 78%. My actual raise is 14, I think, total over the last 25 years. So my take home pay ain't taking me home. Thank God I had a rich ex-wife. But here's the problem, right? So you can see the problem is they're not even trying. If they actually were competitive, and where are they losing it? Admissions. That's extensive manual. We had a database that just this last week got changed that was from 1990. 1990. And we've got it for 40 years with no, haven't done anything about it. So there's $250,000 right there. And that's hours per year. That's not even, that's people power, right? So multiply that, and then you get to the big numbers up there. Financial aid, definitely a problem. Course management, horrible problem. So it knows exactly where it is. So once you do that, then you go in there and you create an account. So in addition to this, you could create an account with us, and then you're going to put in your information. So we want to see what the opportunity is, what we can deliver, and where the problems are. So each one of these departments has been broken down. Brandon, you got to explain this to me, because I still, having seen it, and it works, and it's real, because I ran 10 different companies through that just to see. And then I actually went and found out about the companies. And yes, we are horrible. Now, Miami-Dade College was like in the 60s. You can see we're in the 40s because they're just way ahead of us, So, so this is what we're basically doing. We're finding that there is a human in the loop that does about, will be doing if you got rid of all the AI. So we're basically plugging in for the employees so they could take a look at Maria. Here's her work week. So she's adding 17.8 hours to her week. So that means that she's a senior accounts payable specialist, finance, 7 years. So you could actually put in your own detail. So here are the parts: automate. That means that we're going to invoice data entry and PO matching exceptions. I don't know this job, but I may tell you that's probably about right. And then augmentation. That means that here's some stuff that might get an extra bit. How much time do you spend on emails? In fact, for those people just starting out, one of the coolest things you can do that's only been available for a few months is have it take a look at all your Gmail and start to answer them as it finds, if you get confidence in it. So I would set it up to take all the actionable ones, and then every Monday or whatever day, or twice a day if you want to, have it give you only the important ones, and go ahead and draft an email back, and you get started there. I would do this with Google. If your system is Microsoft, good luck. I'll just say they kind of stink at it right now. But these are tools that are off the shelf that we can then go in and figure out what can we do to give you something else. So here's one of the jobs that you basically get. So you're going to get a list of jobs that can be improved. And then you basically put your building blocks together, and it builds an employee audit bot for you. When you get to the company itself, so this is made for the executive, and then the executive says, I want my whole company to get this $27 million back. How do we do that? And that's going to be really easy. So 4.8 per year. But if we don't do this right now, as people and other companies that are doing better than us, they're going to grab all our customers. So no matter what it is. So where in the workforce is your most competitive problem? So in finance, you can see there's a bunch of money there. Manual invoice processing, three-way matching and reconciliation. Now, the first audit is an intro audit based upon what's available on your public website. So once we get inside, and this is our sales strategy, is we'll come in then and do, with your permission, we'll just let our bot scrape you from the inside, and we'll know exactly where the problems are. And then we deploy to each personnel a bunch of squares that you basically link together like Lincoln logs, because I guarantee you everybody who does the financials like Maria does, let's see, her job is actually senior accounts payable specialist, that she'll have the exact same places where we can automate invoice and PO matching vendor data and monthly reconciliation. Author, vendor. So author means that's me. That's me. Only me can do that. So I'm not going to gain any time there, but I'm going to gain it on the other stuff. So the weekly total is my 40-hour week is now 21 hours. So then what do we do? Next process is find a way. So we'll basically give every person a set of building blocks. They put the ones they use. They connect them like Lincoln Logs because you've got a Microsoft system that's feeding in. So you're going to have IT come in there, make sure the permissions are given to the bot. It's on device. So it's going to do all these automation systems right within your system. Safety first.
And we call those emulators. And so if you go to the last screen, the reason we call them emulators is because everybody's using bots. Everyone's using various terms, but what these things are actually trained to do is emulate the mundane tasks that you don't want to do. So you train the bot how to do your email. You train the bot how to do your PO reconciliation. And then you watch it and you monitor it, and we bring in that layer of IT governance that has the ability to say this is safe, secure, and trusted.
That's it. That's it. And there's where you get that anywhere from 20 to 80% of your job. It all depends on your job. And so what we've done beforehand, we first scraped what are the jobs, and this was our ask at the beginning when we did our research, so you understand that this is a real viable product today. In fact, if anybody wants to invest $2.2 million,
and I'll tell you what, Rick, you don't know that. Where does the other 0.2 go? It's to your toilet, to your plumbing bill,
to the other guys that helped us out.
Yeah, I would say you don't know this, Rick, but I was on TikTok, which I know you don't do the TikTok, but I do the TikTok, and there was somebody on there who is a VC for day one founders, and actually connected, and they said we would love to hear your pitch, and so I've been working behind the scenes to get something for them on their website because they are accepting pitches for entry stage day one founding. So,
yeah. And I'm going to take this over to NSU as well, because that's all they do. It's just all the companies in the world of AI, basically. NSU, Nova Southeastern University, has you remember Blockbuster? So Wayne Heisinger, yeah, Wayne Heisinger, the creator of Blockbuster and many, many other companies, is one of the founders of NSU. He's the one that put the money in there. So it's the Heisinger School of Business, by the way. He went into trash management and all kinds of other things. And he's still billionaire, right? And about 30 other companies. So NSU, which you're going to be coming down here, you need to pick out your house here, Brandon. I want you to live in Miami so we can be at both ends of north and south. And I think your kids are going to love it down here. The weather's fantastic and the pool is good. So anyway, I'm dead serious. This is a real product. So anyway, to give you the idea of how real it is, we basically looked at a 10,000 person company or above. That was kind of our goal. And we wanted to be able to audit them. And we asked, what are the jobs? And there's about 30 to 60 jobs that have within this. Let's say it's 30 jobs that are at every company. Something like payroll, HR, etc. Of those jobs, there's probably 10 little segmented pieces inside there. So think about this. I got a job in HR, and I'm going to check all the people that applied for a job in the graphic design program. So what does that automation look like? We just have the onboarding and then the sorting and then the configuration. So you go in there and you take last month's work, you put it through our system and what we call a leak check. Leak check says, when it goes through the system, is there something wrong that you would have done differently? So then you fine tune it. So that means you, the subject matter expert. That's why it's so important. This is not the executive. This is not the CEO of your company. This is the line worker that sits there and shovels the paper around. The thankless job that nobody wants to do. And what do we want to give to AI? And only they know as a subject matter expert on accounts payable, if it goes through and something doesn't audit. So the human audits it for probably the last 3 months. You just run it through and you go check for leaks. If everything is as good or better, Then you take your extra 20 hours of work, you start the next month and you run it at low power. You double check it with extra audits until you're locked in. When you're locked in, you're basically getting improvements on your own processing, and then you find ways to add value to your job. So you're never going to be fired if you're an employee with this confidence from your employer. This is the big thing. What people fear is CEO who is only accountable to the stockholders, period. This is the problem with America right now. They're reporting to the stockholders. They don't care. If they can get rid of 1,000 workers overnight, they will. And they think AI fixes it. And it's absolutely the wrong attitude. In fact, it's already been proving, in fact, in our information that we have about it. Is it in the FAQs, the whole problem with that logic?
I would say I do want to call out that first of all, I want to give props to our teammates Fernando, Carolina, and Oscar. They were instrumental in helping us bring this all together. We brought Fernando in from Brazil through Zoom. He was helping us run security tests on this. Oscar was instrumental, and his favorite moment, he vibe coded this whole dashboard in Lovable where you could have a simulated employee emulation station, and he was very pleased that the employee was not automated out of a job. And then Carolina was there to really help bind us together as a team and bounce ideas and just help us build and work collaboratively as a team. We could not have done it without them. We've really got a good team. And one of these days, Rick, we're going to win one of these things. They do these once a quarter with eMerge. Well, I'm already looking at flights for my next one.
Well, we do it once a month down here in Miami. That's why you got to move down here, man. I'm just telling you. I mean, I'll come up there to Chicago. That's the only other place I've seen where they do a lot of them.
But I will say this FAQ, and also the demo reel. When we tell Lovable, like, hey, based on everything you know about the site, build an FAQ page. And it just does. It looks and thinks about all of the questions that somebody might ask when they're on the page and builds the entire FAQ page in a minute and a half. So Lovable made this very easy. Lovable has been beaten up this week. They got some bad press for a leak unleak that they had to deal with.
I heard that.
Yeah. What it was essentially a bit of old code that exposed your public chats, which was by design. You know, if you're vibe coding, you're building in public, you're making your projects public, but the average vibe coder didn't understand that when you put your API keys directly into the chat, it makes them available, and it created a security hole. So they went and patched that real quick, and Lovable took that on the chin, and they're a strong platform, and I believe they're going to come back stronger from that.
Well, and the other thing
they're a great program to work with, to be able to work collaboratively. All five of us working on the same project at the same time. It was just fantastic to watch it all come together. Can you imagine how long it would have taken to build this?
Impossible.
2 years ago?
This is 1,000-hour job easily by professional coders. We literally vibe coded this, the look and the feel. I went back and I, with Brandon's suggestion, because it was busy, I changed the logo. But here's what I want to say for everybody, right? If you're going to use Perplexity, and if you're going to use Lovable or any of those AI agents, basically, and Claude Computer and Perplexity Computer, that means on your physical desk, or you're going to open Claude, right? Always, one of the things you do, because you don't know it, at the last said, do a security audit, give me any problems I have, put it where it needs to be, do what your magic is, act as my legal advisor so that I don't have any holes in the system that's going to expose my, API keys and stuff. So use the tool at the end, because I literally haven't even got a clue what it did, but I know what the results are. And I know because I've been around my dad's business and every other kind of business. Just to give you an idea here. So all of these work right now. So if I go into the HR emulator, here's where it says it's going to be able to save with 94% confidence. So it's telling you how much it's going to save, volume per week, auto-handled. This is what it knows about your job. Out of scope approving payments, about $25,000. So these are things it's not going to do. And this is the things it's going to do. And then here you go. This is the amount of human effort is going to be saved that can be used elsewhere. So
All right. So we've got a
estimated
lot
basically.
to cover and
Yeah,
a
we
lot.
do.
Yeah.
But it's so much.
Go
It's
ahead and
so
finish
cool.
that thought.
Yeah, it's so cool. So the two things that I want you to take away. First, if you're just getting started, just pick a large language model. My choice to you would be Perplexity because it's citation engine. You have Claude in there, which you're going to find out is the best at writing there ever was on the planet, still is. You're going to have ChatGPT in there. You're going to have Google in there. So you have all three, and you have Nana Banana in there. So you're going to be able to create the visuals, do the writing, and do all the kind of stuff like what we're doing. And you have full capability to do even as almost as good as Lovable. I would say in some cases it's the same thing in some ways, but of course, Lovable is specifically this. So Perplexity gives you the ability to go in and try all of them out for their strengths and weaknesses. And if you pick Claude, you're picking it because you probably don't make a lot of images because it stinks, still stinks. I went through and I tried to make that design tool work. No, what you have to do is actually load in an entire skill set for designers, which you can do. Then it produces something, but it has no built-in Nana Banana. And we're going to talk about that later tonight too. So that's the
I do want to give one more plug while you switch over to the news slideshow because there's been a lot of news this week. If you head over to community.thesalon.ai and jump onto the mastermind program, which is a steal, starting May 3rd, so a little less than 2 weeks away, I'm going to be doing a 4-week for subscribers in the community, a 4-week sprint on Lovable. Everything from ideating to curating to producing to marketing. It's a 4-week course, 4 hours, but it's available to mastermind subscribers only in the AI Salon. So make sure you get that if you want some of that hands-on tutorial.
Awesome. Okay. So we can see.
So Rick, what have we got in the what have we got in the news this week, Rick?
We got a bunch of things in the news, and I'm going to add just one more little lovely thing to share with you, and that's this. As I was kind of saying, I want to start the show off because this is what you guys care about. I want to meet you where you are. You're not doing what we're doing, so you get to see it. So that's kind of cool. But here it is. So this is in today's, what was it called? Now I forget what the whole project was called. I'm going to put it in there in just a second. Oh, it's in the AI Advantage Summit. That's what it's called. I'm going to put the link into it right now.
This is the Tony Robbins thing, by the way.
Yeah.
One point of housekeeping on that. This is your friendly reminder. If you paid the $1 to get into their premier level, don't forget to cancel your subscription before they charge you for the full month. We had a couple of AI Salon folks get stuck by that because they didn't realize this is not the first time they've run the summit. So they ran this last year, and it wasn't 2 million people last year, but it was still catching on. But they are offering a lot of value, and they're spilling a lot of candy in the lobby. But as you know, Tony Robbins is a salesman, and Dean Razi and all those folks, they want to make their money with ChatGPT too and AI. So what they do is they offer that upsell for $1 to get behind the scenes and all this stuff. However, if you read the fine print, you do need to make sure that you cancel your card, or otherwise you're going to be surprised in a month when you have a bill from Tony Robbins.
Okay. So it's a YouTube channel. So you can just look for Tony Robbins, and it is the next 2 days. Now, what I would do is immediately go and download all the goodies they give you, because they give you all the goodies, including they've got a new book coming out. But this was the main presenter today. And if you haven't been following him, you really should. Now try to remember his name offhand. But anyway, this is what he put up today that I think is really, really valuable. And that is AI for Answers is where you start. We all went in there and we said, hey, tell me about this mole. Is that okay? Tell me how to fix my toilet, which I should have done that, right? A long time ago, but I let it go on for 3 months. But my bad. So I'm going to pay $300 tonight. Teach you a good lesson. Second, as a daily work partner. So just get it to do things like, personal coaching, drafting. Hey, I'm going to give a speech. You're going to listen to it and tell me what I could do to improve it. Like literally find a task for it that's very specific. Give it tons of context, like a whole 20-minute speech. I had my students do this, and they said it was spectacular. It said you need to lead with a stronger starting point. And then 2 of my students actually had it take a look at video that they shot. So they had to do this for the class, 10-minute speech, and they had to be effective, had to use their hands, all this kind of stuff. So it evaluated and gave it so act as a professional speech evaluator, and take a look at my video. Tell me what I could do to be better. Rewrite the script for me. Show me what I do with my hands, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the second point, and that's fantastic. And then basically, Brandon and I are at level 3. We're using Cowork and Lovable and Claude Code and OpenClaw. Social media pipelines are being set up. In fact, we're setting up so that I will be using TikTok and will be posting every day, but it will be Claude on my Claude computer, where I'm setting up a 92 terabyte server right now and going to have some fun with that. So that's really the big takeaway that I want to start us thinking about. Hang on as I go over to run my slideshow. Second one is this is the second presenter, right? So this is you before. So stop thinking it about as a chat bot. It's not. I mean, this is the big thing, right? She was quite entertaining. She's on Broadway and stuff. And what I watched for is I want to learn how to present. And these two were geniuses. I got to tell you, if you're even really into this, like Brandon and I are, still go over there, because this is my takeaway that I want to give to everybody in the audience is we're here to meet you wherever you are. So if you're still on this phase or on the left, we're showing you that you can get to the right. It's just a slow process, and it means you put in your 10,000 hours. I mean, you're not good at anything, just doing it a couple of times a week. Make it personal, make it play, have fun first, and then do it for real work. All right. So what do we got in the pipeline for news today? Starting with OpenAI, ChatGPT 5.5, faster, better, cheaper. Yes, and complex coding and research and data analysis. Holy cow. And we're going to take a look in a minute. Amazing graphics. All right. So OpenAI also gave it free, ChatGPT for clinicians. So if you haven't taken a look, not only do they have a bunch of new plugins, you remember they were the first ones to get on stage and said, hey, you can plug into Photoshop. Guess what? Adobe now has Claude plugging into Photoshop. You tell it what to do, and it will go generate. Adobe, which I didn't get a chance to even do this, we're going to do a whole Adobe episode, because what did Adobe do? AI all the way through. They now have 10 different still image models and video image models built into the Firefly ecosystem. That I don't have a slide for that tonight. We're going to spend a whole episode talking about that in the future. But what ChatGPT did is they tried to beat Nana Banana, and I'm going to show you that in some ways they have, quite extraordinarily with text. I'm going to say they win on text, and I'll show you side by side, so you don't have to try this on. You don't have to spend any credits. I've gone deep, deep, deep dive, so we got some cool stuff there. Anthropic Mythos breached, and it was kind of humiliating. It kind of went off and did its thing, scared a bunch of people. Evidently, there's a second breach that happened that they're plugging back up. The Mythos is their Glasswing. Is it Glasswing? Is that the right word? Their project they're not letting anybody have except governments and major, like Chase Bank has a hold of it right now. They're plugging up all the holes in the planet so that when people get a hold of it, if they do, which I don't think they will, honestly, I think what we're going to see is 4.7, 4.8, etc. OpenAI launches workspace agents in ChatGPT, so you can get teams working on projects. This is long overdue, and something that Google needs to work on substantially, because Google has a real problem in sharing stuff like this. I think ChatGPT has always had, as you and I did, while we were at the Vibe Coding Hackathon this weekend, we actually, all four of us got inside of ChatGPT and shared one conversation. So we could see what I was thinking about in design, and then you could download the assets right there. Now I'm going to show you some other things about it. So ChatGPT has got that pretty well sewn up. So they're catching up. And of course, next month, guess what? Google I/O is going to blow them away once again. All right, OpenAI launches images too. That's what I'm going to talk about today. And it's really, really, really good. And I'll demonstrate that. Agent orchestration. So AI agents accelerating drug development and workforce automation. This is MIT reviewing what's going on. So now you've got AI agents going in there and trying 10,000 different variations of a drug or a cancer agent, customizing per person, your cancer treatment evaluation, efficacy, etc. That's getting really interesting. Anthropic adds everyday app connectors. So that includes a grocery, Instacart, All Rails. I guess All Rails, is that the train system that you were on, Brendan? Is that like Tri-Rail or something down here? Spotify. So they're plugging in just like ChatGPT. So all of the models, you can use any one of them today, and you're going to get stuff done. And you're going to be shocked at how good it is. Meta is now watching every single mouse click every one of their employees does in order to steal their brains and fire them. They fired 10% of their staff yesterday. Boom. I didn't even put that in here because it's so freaking sad. And I hope they go to hell because it's just like creepy as hell. He wants to replace all humans with metaverse BS. Okay. I'm not going to go there. Ideogram, we'll have to take a look at this once again. They've now got customized things for advertising. So it's a lot of new image generation models and presets. So if you're doing a print ad, you're doing a magazine ad, etc., you've got really, Ideogram was one of the best in typography for a long time. It's still on par, not quite to ChatGPT's newest version, but I'm sure they're coming out with new models all the time. So I'm still going to be paying my $20 a month. I'm not using it nearly like I used to, as I'm starting to use agents to generate images for me. This entire slide deck, again, is brought to you by Perplexity Computer. So this is actually running a website that it created that generates not only, in fact, if you were looking at my screen, my second screen, you would see the words of Brandon and I are supposed to be going back and forth are inside a PowerPoint of 20 slides that you're looking at right now. So it generated with our logo in the bottom left-hand corner. It took a couple of tweaks. Literally, I spent about an hour and a half on it. And then every single morning, 10 o'clock, I click go. It regenerates 30 stories. I pick 15. It makes a slide deck. I download the PowerPoint. Within 3 minutes, it's automated. We're now going to do that with cutting and editing all of our stuff. We've already done it to take control and to write all the descriptions for everything we post up there, including hashtags. And our next venture is once I get the Claude computer set up, all the posts to all social media in multi-languages is going to be happening for our entire show. We are going to reach 1 million viewers subscribers by the end of this year. Guaranteed. Let's see how we can do it. And let's see how fast we accelerate. We're kind of making some move now. All right. Here is for Chris Fallone. Yeah, he's amazing. And this Sunday night, yes, at April 26th, 3 days from now, go to Vallone Works, VALLONE WORKS on YouTube and watch the premiere of his amazing film. It is spectacular. I got a preview. He will be our guest next week, not only showing the film. Look at this still image. I mean, this is freaking wonderful. And I've seen the film, and you can see the trailer for it, by the way. It's got an opening scene of a World War I biplane running over the scene of this World War I epic film. It is gorgeous and really, really looking forward to seeing it more. So this is what we did this weekend. There's Maria. That was our character we developed to kind of follow and track. We could do a customer journey whenever you're doing a new application. And Maria was kind of our payroll specialist. And so, of course, I had to ask for it. I thought ChatGPT would give me a transparent background. I think I used Google instead, and it doesn't give you the transparency, although it pretended to with checkerboard. But once I got it in there, it didn't quite work. So this is what I've been doing. This is actually at City Hall in Coral Springs and Coconut Creek. I went there for 8 hours. Here's Upskill USA. Here's the newest thing. I know we showed this last week, so I'm going to go quickly through it. But the idea is that if this nurse at Broward College goes back for a 2-week certificate in advanced breast cancer detection using AI, she will save, and this is a calculation, 1,500 years, lives over her 25-year career. Actually, I'm sorry, that was 1,500 lives per year, depending on the number of people that she evaluates. because early detection, early screening, and early numbers give you that advantage. Here are the 1 through 5 level that we've seen before. Who's at risk? Telemarketers, coders. We've seen that go away. Warehouse assembly people. Yeah, the robots are coming, baby. They're already here. Same with truck drivers, etc. And this is, I just like the visual of this. This is my propaganda style. So this is Notebook LM, using one of those notebooklm.rickmccauley.com things that you just saw. So this is with all the data for Upskill USA. So is this. So what we're going to be doing is 2 6-hour strategy sessions at the same time. And the last 2 hours, you're going to meet with your employees, and we're going to map the future using our brand new tool for Upskill USA. Do we have a name for the tool itself, Brandon, in our ecosystem here?
Not yet, no.
I think we need to call it Empower. Yeah, Empower. Empower employees. Empower employees. That sounds good. We'll vibe code that one with our AI and see if we can get it, right? So the boardroom upscaling, it's not the boardroom that has to do it. It's the people. So we get a mindset shift. We get a pathway forward. We give them the tools to go from a long-haul trucker to autonomous fleet operations manager, warehouse picker to robotics maintenance tech, call center rep to high EQ, emotional quotient, if you didn't know what that meant, escalation specialist, junior coder to AI systems orchestrator. That is what our product is going to do for people. And at a very simple level, do it. So here's what's going to happen to healthcare, education, safety and infrastructure, production and trades. This is tomorrow's economy. Automated, animated, empowered to extend our reach and power as human beings, to do the things for human beings like save their lives, educate them, making sure it's safe for humans to use it. Production and trades, we're going to be able to be America the Great again and have real pride in craft and trade work. Creative economy is going to be exponentially raised. Extend your reach, but make sure all the human is at your fingertips. It's all about what we're doing for other human beings, being born of service. It's a noble cause, and let's change our thinking to see not what AI can do for you, but what you and we, more importantly, can do with AI. So that's the call out. This is the strategy. This is what we're doing. I've done it in Coral Springs, Coconut Creek. I've also done it in Broward County, and I'm going to be doing it in Miami soon. Stay tuned to any place near you. I'll come up to Cleveland. What do you think? Should we do one in Cleveland, Brandon?
You're welcome here anytime, Rick.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to say, ask. Let's fund the community colleges to let them lead the way. Execute. Let's get federal funding and foundational so we get partners. And let's pilot this Upskill USA in 10 cities. And the final word, start now, because the layoffs are already there. How do we get everybody to rebuild America powerful and more important than it ever was in the history of the world, to be an agent for change for good? Wouldn't it be nice if all of Europe said, America, thank you so much? Wow, I'm waiting for that day. So there you go. That's our slide deck for the day. And why did it? Oh, I know why it switched. I'm gonna have to go back in there in just a second. All right. So next we're gonna talk about. Is there anything else you wanted to share before I go?
Just that Bob wants to know when we can get his robot, and he'll come to Cleveland to vibe code with us if you come up.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. So yeah. We're going to do that for sure. Oh, here we go. This is the extra news. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Are you back? Oh, did you want to show off your application?
We'll save that for the end. You're on a roll.
Okay. All right. So here's just a couple things that are also in the news. Now, I found a website. It's called at Artificial Zone on what's it called? Not LinkedIn. It's on Instagram. It's worth following them. This is pretty cool. So I'm starting to now get stuff from them. We are talking to whales. And yes, I met another whale shark scientist. I got a hold of Denny Ramirez. You're going to see that in just a second. This is going to blow your mind. So she's the one, if you've heard me talk about sonogramming a whale shark, I had a conversation with her yesterday. We're going to meet on a Zoom call, and we're going to organize scientists from around the world. I'm so excited about this, to actually do this for real, man. We're going to use AI, and we're going to have them on live on the show. So you're going to be able to see this. So we're already getting 99% accuracy in detecting cancer with assistance with human doctors and technicians to detect cancer. So this is the great news. Already, AI is being used and got the Russians to surrender. So this is, pretty significant. So this is the weird news. And then here's the most beautiful thing. Why is the Gen Z stare the Gen Z stare? Turns out Harvard, for the last 75 years, has understood what the trick to being a Harvard graduate and making 10 times more money than your average Joe. And it's real simple. Household chores. That's it. Give a problem to a kid, give them the agency and the requirement to solve it. Give them the power to become the most powerful change agent in their life, and it will last longer and be a more powerful skill set to add to value to your family unit, to clean the dishes so you can all eat on clean dishes. Were you given chores as a child, Brandon?
I here and there, not too much.
And how about your kids?
We're just starting to get in. They want the Labubus, so we're making them earn it.
There you go. So there's no participation trophy if you want success for your kids. Dead serious about this. I am dead freaking serious about this. I know this for a fact. I saw that when my dad, he was in the military. I called him sir till I was 14 years old. And it was absolute respect. I had 25 chores I had to do, and I would get them done. I would get up and mow the lawn, even though it was a whole acre and it was electric lawnmower. I'd run over the cord a couple of times, like I talked about last time. But I knew that if I didn't do right, that I had problems to face. And it's the most powerful thing that makes me who I am. So if you want to know why a dangerous person is a dangerous person, I'm going to tell you. And in fact, I'm going to insist. In fact, when I come up to visit you, I'm going to have your kids do some chores, and I'm going to reward them, because for work, there should be rewards. But sometimes it's even just a hug, or sometimes it's you get to eat on a clean plate. Try it out without that clean plate being clean the next day, buddy. So if we're born with responsibilities, that is a huge unlock. In the age of AI, 10 times that. And I'm not joking. 75 years. That's what Harvard came up with. I am doubling down on that again and again. And if you want to know how that works, I'll give you some parenting advice. Not that I'm, but I just know this is true. And the other two things is your job for the rest of your life is to put 15% of every cent you ever made into the stock market. And you're a millionaire at the end of that, guaranteed. Number 3 is your job is always to solve your boss's problems before they know they have them. That's it. Those are the 3 things that my dad taught me, that, swear to God, he was the greatest generation in America. And that's what it takes to do it. To be willing to sacrifice.
My kids right now, they work for lobster and not the kind you eat. They're happy with their little lobsters.
I don't know why this keeps. Oh, I say
you have some blank slides in there.
Yeah, that's what I was. My toilet flooded. That's what happened. All right. So now I'm going to start to blow your mind, because this is ChatGPT image 2. All right. Now, of course, you guys don't know anything about topography, but I do. In fact, I'm teaching topography course, and I just did a notebook LM a little while ago because I'm teaching it next semester, and I thought, oh, wouldn't this be cool? So here's 2 typefaces. If you haven't heard of Trajan, the typeface, Carol Twombly in 1959, she was born, and she invented this typeface in the modern era, right? I'm trying to remember when it was. I think it was 89. I think that she came up with this. So she took Trajan's column. And in fact, you know it from every movie there was. It's the movie font. If you saw Exodus, if you saw, Lionsgate, if you saw Harry Potter, it's, all the epic stuff, especially. So it comes from Trajan, who was a Roman emperor, who took these giant obelisks, these phalluses, if you will. You can see to the left of Miss Twombly, and that's actually a picture of her. So all I did is said, make me an infographic that talks about Trajan the typeface, the cinematic Roman capital. That's the actual typeface perfectly. And I'm going to show you more. Susanna Licco, this is really interesting. So Baskerville was a typeface created in the 1700s. And who helped who helped Mr. Baskerville create this typeface? And you'll see him in a minute. Long time ago. It's the most used typeface. In fact, Baskerville was used by Benjamin Franklin and many other people, right? So Sarah Eves was his housekeeper, then later became his partner, assistant, and wife. And this extraordinary intellectual woman, and then Susanna Licco says, hey, I'm going to remake it for the digital age. So in she's born in 1961, and I think 89 is when she made 96. She released this new typeface, and it's gorgeous. You can see where it's used. So Mrs. Eves carries the warmth of a human story where love, partnership, and art became timeless. She brings romance, grace, and historical memory into every letter we set today. So I basically said, how do you use the typeface? Show examples of how they're used, and then create me an infographic. So being who I am, I couldn't stop at one, so I did another one. So there's the Cinema, Publishing, and Origins is from the Trajan's column, and Trajan bridges two worlds, the stone-carved authority of ancient Rome and the polished grandeur of modern cinema. So I'm trying to explain, and here is Interstate. Did you know that the Interstate typeface is called Interstate? And you know how they tested it? Tobias Ferrero Jones met with the U.S. Department of the Interstate, and they had a truck, and they put 30 people on the back of this truck, and they were 10 football fields away from a sign. And they basically put the truck closer and closer and closer, and they tested out 100 different typefaces. Guess which one? The one you're using today on I-95, if you drop up and down or anywhere in the United States, that's the typeface. There's the origin story. How cool is that? How many of you knew that, right? So here is a tool for educators that, and you're going to see in a minute, it's for all educators, right? So you got ChatGPT that has a brain now. That was the unlock that Nana Banana. Of course, Nana Banana is going to do better, but take a look at this. Every single typeface is absolutely perfect. This is this will be a poster 24 by 36 inch hanging in my classroom. In fact, I did 90 of them just for fun in one night. Yeah, don't try that at home, but, and here's Zaf Dingbats. You've used those before, right? Did you know the story about Herman Zaff? Okay. He died in 2015. There's where it's used, and you get the idea. And here's Caslon. Now, this was used actually on the Constitution. So, okay. Just shut the door. Okay. So I'm on air, and the plumber's here to fix it. So hopefully this will come quickly. So anyway, there's the origin story. Okay. So now here we go. So it offered me, hey, would you like to do an infographic real quick? And I said, oh, sure. And I'd done this thing on the mantis shrimp. And so I said, tell me 6 wonderful things about the mantis shrimp. And especially talk about the full body shot, an amazing eyes, and powerful front legs. There it is. Look at this. It tells you about where they are. And then here we go. So I've been working. That's a photograph of me in Palau. So I asked it. I gave it a bunch of information. So the ship right behind me is called it's a Japanese A6M2N RUFE seaplane, codenamed Jake. So all I knew when I dove there in Palau was it's the Jake seaplane. Oh, cool. And then did you know when you go to Palau, on your passport, you have to sign this document? Yep. It says, I lost it. It says, I promise to leave Palau and its beautiful and unique islands with nothing but memories and footprints. That's the Palau postage stamp pledge. Palau is the first country in the world to require visitors to sign a pledge in their passports, reminding us all that we are guests in a fragile paradise. So this is a full page text fully rendered with the correct information about the type, the lens, camera that I used in the bottom right-hand corner, the diver's journey of what I did there, 8 amazing facts with icons, and a locator map of where we were on the island when I made these photographs and where Jake's seaplane is. So this is going to be now part of my book. And guess who this is? Dr. Demi Ramirez. And so this is where I was. And you can see Roca Partida is in the middle of the super highway, So I ask it to map out the superhighway. This is where all the animals go from pole to pole and migrate, including whale sharks, everything. You name it, that's where they go. And Roca Partida is in the middle of freaking nowhere in this archipelago just south of the Baja Peninsula. And then it goes into details you can see here. So get ready for it. And then 10 facts about this area and about the amazing whale sharks. This is her. And this is her sonogramming a whale shark. If that's not the most amazing thing you've ever seen in your life, the only human being to have ever sonogrammed a whale shark, and this was the second one that she sonogrammed. There's 300 babies inside there. So just hold on to your horses for a minute and think about what just happened here. And now I'm going to be celebrating and talking with her, because what I've dedicated the rest of my life to, along with the other things I'm going to do, is just doing one more beautiful thing. To give the voiceless, the beautiful animals that have been going up and down the coastline are now being protected from the ships that are going by, which disturb their sonic image, run over them, and kill hundreds of whales a year, and gives you the power to be part of this agentic system of finding ways to amplify what the scientists are trying to do. So I'm making better quality infographics for them. I just ask it, angelfish of the Florida Keys, give me a guide to all of the different varieties. Tell me where they are, and then put the corals endemic to the Florida Keys and do that. Everything is perfect. I'm having them fact checked right now by scientists. That's how good this is. Then I went, and there's this, right? So there are 4 major programs, the Coral Restoration Foundation. I went and photographed this. This is what you do. You can go down there and snorkel. So next time you're down here, Brandon, we're going to take the kids out and we're going to do this. So, yeah. Okay. Brandon, can you take it over for a minute?
Sure, Rick. Well, Brandon, Rick goes and deals with his plumbing situation, I will talk to you. We're going to pivot into RecipeKin, which is a project that the AI Life Hacks Club inside of the AI Salon took on. It was really a 6-month project. We've talked about it here, but Gwen from the AI Life Hacks Club and Dr. Claire, who's in the audience, we really put this together, and they pushed me to put this on because they had an event where they were taking this live, and they said, "Can we need this ready? Is it ready to go?" And so now we have a community cookbook that is live, and we've got community recipes that people can share. And what this site is basically allows you to upload a video history of what you're working on from a recipe and tell the story, and then you upload that into the site. And what it allows you to do is put that recipe and have the AI analyze that recipe, and then you end up getting something that looks like this. So we've got Naomi with her
My name is
doing
Naomi. I am going to be making cupcakes. You will need a bowl, water, oil, eggs, baking mix, a mixer, frosting, and baking cups.
And so we did this for a class project. And so what it did was it extracted all of the instructions out, gave us a story behind it, told us how many it makes, how long it takes to make it, and gives us the recipe here. And then you can actually turn this in to a printed cookbook. Once you get over 36 recipes, turn this into a printed cookbook. And so we've got a printed cookbook. It's called the Tidbits Test Kitchen. And we're very excited about how this all came together. It was built on Lovable with an integration to Stripe. And it is a very cool project to be a part of. And so that is just, one of the things that you can do with Lovable. And so if you have any questions about Lovable, I'm more than happy to talk to you about them. Talk to you about the different projects that we're doing from vibegreeting.com, which is my AI card production company. But when you're working with Lovable, it's very important that you just remember that you are the author, and it really comes down to what you want to get out of the system and working with it like you would work with an intern. And so when it comes to working with these tools, you always have to remember that you are in control, and you are the author of, and you are the one that's in control. So we're seeing a lot of examples more and more of big companies getting caught just turning in AI slop, turning these information into and turning over finished work that they were supposed to put human effort behind, and turning them into manual, getting caught with hallucinations. And so that is not something that we want to be doing. We always want to make sure that we are in control of the process and making sure that we are at the author. What do you call it, Rick? Signature own?
Signature worthy. In fact, this is a really cool, interesting thing I want to stress. So I started this with my students. I talk every day because I have my students using AI all the time. And I say, how do you feel about it? Because, and I demonstrated one example that I did was the students have to pick an illustration. They have to pick a step-by-step, infographic, right? And so the student said, I want to do an infographic about the T-Rex. And so he started doing what would have taken a month for each project. You're making a T-Rex, you're finding 6 facts about it. So I'm using AI to do that. And then we come back, and he felt okay about that, because in the real world, my scenario is National Geographic hired you to do an infographic about the T-Rex. So that's what you're doing. Okay. So you would get a 14-page treatment from scientists that have said, here are the facts that we want. Your job would be illustrated. Perfect. He started using Illustrator, Photoshop, all the stuff together. And it took him 12 hours of straight work to get done. And then I said to ChatGPT, or it was actually Gemini at the time, I said, pick the 10 from scratch. This is literally a prompt I said. Pick the 6 most amazing facts about the T-Rex and make me an infographic that privileges that. One of them should be, could I outrun a T-Rex? I asked for that. And it literally made it in less than 3 minutes. And then I said to him, if you had your no ears.
And your graphic designer went home and cried in the fetal position.
Well, but here's the take back. So I just finished that particular assignment last week, actually. So what I did is I showed them that work, and I said, would you feel like this was something you made? Do you feel like you earned it if you did it that way? And they said no. And I said, well, what are you going to do about it? You make it signature worthy. So the statement is, I have my students say to me when they hand in the assignment, they say it out loud the first 3 or 4 times because they're getting it, right? And I am literally a safe space. I don't have any game in this race. I do know that the future, especially because of what Adobe announced this last week, their Gen Studio thing is getting to everybody. Literally, you are going to be prompting 1 million different assets for social media sharing Coca-Cola sides in less than an hour. So agents are swarming, and graphic designers don't have a job anymore. So we're on the chopping block more than ever before. In fact, tomorrow morning, guess what we do? Every semester, we meet with the biggest companies in South Florida. Starmark. They do FP&L, Florida Power and Light. They do Nickelodeon. They've won so many Emmys and everything else. 40% down. Why? Because the large companies like FP&L are bringing AI in-house and doing their own design work. So they don't need to pay millions of dollars. So that's the job my students would have got. And last week, 40% reduction in graphic design internships. So I'm seeing that right now. We're right there. So signature worthy is a question of respect. And then you have to earn your position. And here's how I think about it. And I'm going to go back to the Spielberg thing. I know you've heard me. So Spielberg and signature worthy are combined. Here's how they work. If you were Steven Spielberg and you decided to make in that Auschwitz a train scene going away, little girl walking with a red balloon in a black and white film, would you feel that was signature worthy as Steven Spielberg and only he could have created it? That's the most human, powerful moment there is. What I say to my students is, to get signature worthy, that is what it looks like. Only he would have made that aesthetic choice. And I said, from now on, you're Steven Spielberg. When you walk in, you tell me what you did that added value to what the AI helped you do. And don't even think for a second, I'm not going to ask you, would you sign your name to it? And I actually have them sign their name to it. So I now have a document at the beginning of each semester I give to them. They have a study buddy, a person they're humanly responsible for. They got to take notes for them. They got to make sure they're up. If they get a bad grade, it's on them too. It's 10% of their grade. I'm going to add more to it. I'm going to add a study group on top of this because social emotional intelligence is something that's got to be taught too. And we get back to the Spielberg thing. If we're more powerful, you're not just in charge. You're actually in charge of talking to the cinematographer and the lighting crew and the makeup artist and the storyboarder. And we're going to see this next week. In fact, I think.
Yeah, I was saying Chris Malone is signature-worthy content.
He is. I mean, he's the guy, right? Because he's known this, because he's got blood, sweat, and tears in the game. He's been crafting and making films when it was 8mm, 6mm, just like Steven Spielberg did. Like if you don't see his 8mm film, what was it called? 8mm, I think, or something like that. But it was about him as a kid, you know, and this spectacular movie. Anyway, that's the point of what.
All right, so yeah, bring us home with this ChatGPT images and what you're doing with these here.
Oh yeah. So okay. So this is I'm going to be putting it. So this is the top half of it. Here's the bottom half of it. Look at this. So it's actually got donate, volunteer, dive responsibility, and spread awareness. It's going to have actual QR codes in there. Right now, it's just a placeholder, but what a beautiful thing. So I put this poster up in the 4 places that we looked at just a second ago. MOTE, Marine Laboratory and Aquarium. That's one place for real. Restoration. Coral Restoration Foundation. I've been there, did that. Look at those dots. Those are 30 acres underneath the water. There's like 80 of them, I think, at the moment. I actually should have asked that to be on here. And then this is going to amplify. So when you come down, you bring your kids, you can go for free and you can go out there. And what you do is you take these, you scrape them with a toothbrush. I'm not making this up because the algae gets on these little clusters. They have triangular shaped corals that have been bred specifically for heat resistance. So all over the world, they've collected the best ones and they're making them and they've increased the speed. And then they literally, with epoxy glue that's made for the marine environment, glue them in triangular shaped form to the reef, and it's been growing. They're putting on 1 inch a year to all of the reef up and down, and human beings are going out there and doing it. So what do we got to do? Amplify the human beings so they can do this, right? So up to a 90% survival rate in nurseries, up to 70% survival rate in just regular reefs. So we're doubling the speed at which it recovers. And then we're making it more resilient so it will last longer. And you can see this fragmenting, the nurse growth rate, the outplanting, epoxy attachment, and growth and thrive, and then rinse and repeat, baby. So we need human beings. Here's about hammerhead sharks. Again, I just went right off my coast here. And if you want to dive with hammerhead sharks, you got to get certified. But you can go there and they'll feed them right in front of you. These puppies are long, 20 foot long. We had 2 18-footers. I don't have that video to show you tonight. That's where they are in all sub-Saharan tropics, in Bimini in particular. Highly intelligent, large brain relative to their size, great memory, and problem-solving skills. Electroreception, they can detect electric fields of prey. They can tell when you're struggling. So the reason why sharks will kill you when you're anxious about them is they can hear your heart going really fast. And they said, time to strike. That's literally why you get killed. So calm your ass down. And don't run away from them because they will kill you. They're predators. They're ambush predators. They wait and then they come from behind. So, and then, okay. So I had this prompt that I was doing. This is D-Day invasion, selfie style. This is the new one. This is where I want to compare what ChatGPT looks like. This is ChatGPT's version compared to what OpenAI is doing. Okay. Here on the left, you've got the top picture. This is ChatGPT. You got the bottom, Google. You got the same on the left is Google. And you can see the thing about the Google ones is what? They're beautifully lit, colorfully photographed. They're not like taken with a snapshot. They look like they're taken by a professional photographer. That's why I like it, because I want it to look like that. If, however, you want pimples on your forehead, woman on the right, you want the shine to be a little funky and the flash not to be powerful enough, you want to use ChatGPT. So it looks organic is the point. right? It looks like it was actually there. That's the realism that we're looking at. And then here's Abracadabra, and I'm updating that, and this is getting even more interesting. We've already played the video here, I think, before, so.
In a world where the future feels uncertain,
And I'm not going to play that again.
and the challenges seem
Or do you want to see
insurmountable,
this again? I don't know.
a generation of children is waiting for a hero who looks like them. But they won't just find a hero. They will become the heroes. Abracadabra does not mean magic. In ancient Aramaic, it means, I create as I speak. Words do not describe reality, they create it. Meet Kavi Vak, the spoken poet.
So, yeah, let's get back to our screen here. Bring me back up a second. So what I did today with this is even more interesting. So I've been trying to, so the idea of Abracadabra is these kids, based upon ancient wisdom, have been able to use their phones to actually make stuff. So I'm reading, you remember the MIT magazine? I'm sorry, it was,
Yeah.
it was a big thing, MIT magazine. And there was a story about putting, how they're going to terraform Mars. And the story kind of opened up, I think it was MIT magazine. And mycelium. Do you remember we talking about mycelium before? So basically think about mushrooms. The largest organisms on planet Earth are mycelium. They can be acres and acres of this interconnected, what we call the wood, W-O-O-D, wide web. That means that it actually communicates between big trees and dying trees and young trees. It will actually move water around between them. As a tree doesn't need water anymore, it pushes it to where it is needed. So it literally is the connected juice underneath. Well, then I said to Claude today, and it just produced this spectacular thing, which I don't want to go too far into. But here's the big takeaway, and that is, I said, I got a problem with saying that Abracadabra and AI could actually do these things. Like in the case of Kavivaka, his plastic in the Ganges is in his backyard and causing all kinds of drama and illnesses, etc. Right? Kids brought me some ice cream. Okay. So what I said is, I don't want to sell this idea unless it's real. And I said, I remember watching Jacques Cousteau, and then I remember watching many, many episodes about extremophiles. Have you ever heard of extremophiles before, Brandon? Okay, this is what it is. These are organisms in the volcanic rift. So you know where plate tectonics come together. This is Science Hour, by the way. Just in case you.
I was going to say we went from AI to Bill Nye
Mr.
real
Science.
quick. Made a hard left
Well,
turn.
we're getting back to AI, and that's the cool part about it. Okay, so this is real science, right? So you saw that it's curing cancer, it's doing aging, it's reversing aging. It's like it's doing all this kind of stuff. Type 2 diabetes already cured. Type 1, we're on a roller coaster, and it's going faster and faster. It's like fantastic. Okay, so then I thought, I want to give real agency. I don't want to sell them something that they really can't do. And then I thought about, so extremophiles basically is organisms that can exist where the extremes are way beyond. So Mars. So there are actually organisms that are being researched right now. So guess what those AI labs are doing right now at MIT and other places? They're studying how can we terraform. So they have this mushroom that will grow on Mars with extremely limited water supply, and it will make the walls of your house so strong that it'll be stronger than concrete, and that it will allow you to make inside, instead of potatoes like in the Martian movie, right? That it will make mushrooms and food that is high in protein for you. And they're going to be able to engineer them to do different tasks in different places. So you can't pick a planet. You could even go to Mercury and have the AI robots go in there and plant this extremophile. So they're organisms that work way outside the normal oxygen-rich environment. So they'll craft an animal that does this, and then they'll have a nanobot that builds it and puts it there, and then we'll basically terraform. So if you've watched Star Trek, you've seen the episode where they have the terraforming machine, and Spock gets mixed up with it and all that kind of stuff. And, they do the mind meld and transfer, and he dies,
Right.
So a spoiler alert.
I am not convinced. I am not convinced that you are not an extremophile, Rick.
I am. I am an extreme of, yeah, that's what a dangerous person is. We're an extreme version of regular human beings that just got old
and
and
also
figured shit out.
And also, I do want to call out, just because I thought it was really inspiring, what you shared about your daily habit with Claude and how you end and start your day with Claude. I think that's worth bringing up.
Oh,
as far as how you when you ask the question and then go to sleep. I think that's one thing I picked up from when we were crashing over the weekend in the hackathon that you shared that I thought was a really cool hack.
In fact, what I'm gonna let me do that real quick. Let me make sure I'm sharing here. Hang on a second, and I'm gonna share. Stop screen share and share the other. To set it up real easily, and this will be the final thing I think, because what I want to start and end every show with is this: how can I add value to your life, wherever you are in the process? A lot of us are in different places, and like I showed in that first one, I think it's super important. So here's what I do every night at 11 o'clock, oddly enough. Let me see if I can find it now. Oh, here we go. All right. So here's the actual magazine article. It was called Mycelium Moonshot. So what I do 11 o'clock at night, each night, I go to sleep and I ask it some question about something. So this is the article. And this was off-world construction runs into an overwhelming constraint, the upmass problem. So I read this whole thing, as I actually like to read print. And I was loving the design of this. So this is a Think magazine. So I'm going to show this. This is my prompt to give you an idea of, conversations with me are not just like regular conversations. And that's kind of the cool thing about it. So I'm learning every night. So this article is a Big Think it's a Big Think magazine. That's what it was. About mycelium is a perfect organism for Mars, sustainability, food, resource, blah, blah, blah. So then I said, do some research for me and find out about terraforming. And then find out about extremophiles. And then I said at the end, and this is the really important part, I said, what makes my book a call to imagine how powerful thinking medical technician can be if it has the hands, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I basically said what abracadabra is about is giving kids agency. The kind they get from doing their chores, the kinds that they get from having a problem where literally your grandfather's dying, your father's dead already, your mother's being replaced by computers at the factory, and your sister is having to ration so she can just barely survive off the rice that she gets. So you give them the worst problem possible. And what is that? It's the incubator if you have the willpower. When you've fallen down 19,000 times to get up that one last time, to give agency and power to an individual kid, to imagine they could change the world. That's what the book has to do. And I said, this is not a book at all if I tell them that a magic spell is going to solve their problems. It's a mission that will come true, but I have to make sure it has all the possibilities and imagine that you will spark in children as they see themselves in a world beyond where we can see ourselves today as adults, tomorrow as a brighter future, if we can do and have abracadabra start off with an idea, speak back as I have talked to you about this idea for so long. Tell me and do the research for me. Jesus Christ. So what does it say? This is 11 o'clock last night, right? And I wake up to this morning because I always put it down. I have 3 conversations. And then the last question I ask. So the first one is usually just a simple one. We were talking about this last night. I thought about something different. Can you tell me if that changes anything? And I always have it make first just go back and forth with questions. So I say, what am I not thinking about? What am I missing? And then it said this is proof of your vision. Let me go back and speak first, then deep dive into the research. I have everything I need. Before you hand in the document, let me speak back to what I heard, because you're articulating is already a thesis, not a question. You stumbled upon the exact pivot point of the book. What you're really asking isn't, can mycelium go to Mars? You're asking whether fantastical layer of the abracadabra principle can be reread backwards by a 12-year-old with a cracked phone as near future engineering specification sheet? And the answer is yes. Oh my God, I was crying. So it listened to what I had to say. It heard what I said, and it said, Lynn Rothschild at NASA is not a character you'd invent. She already exists, and she is in phase 3 of this grant, the phase 3 NINAC grant. She's liberally proposing that astronauts grow their own homes on Mars out of fungal mycelium. Oh my God, a black fungus from the ruins of the Chernobyl reactor has already been spent a month on ISIS, shielding the ISIS space station from radiation. Cyanobacteria from Atacama have been exposed to the vacuum of space and survived. The tardigrade, if you haven't seen this, and I have a notebook LM on this too, DNA has been successfully transplanted into human cells and reduced radiation damage by 40%. A Harvard team has already shown that 1-inch layer of silica astrogel over a Martian ice field would create a permanent liquid layer. Water greenhouse benefits in the Northeast engineers have already published this science in the Science Advances. So I said, the brigade isn't science fiction. It's a 10-year forecast for where the story is actually going to be in these children's lives. And here's the piece your book should drive home harder than anything else. The upmass problem from the Big Think article. The reason you can't just ship bricks to Mars is that exact same structural reason. Kavivaka in Varanasi, a real place, can't ship a solution up from the global north. Both problems have the same answer. Grow it where you need it to be, from what's already there, speaking the right prompt into the right medium. Mycelium is the analog of Kavivaka's river runners. Radiotropic fungi are the literal creatures that feed on the thing that's killing you and turn around into a shelter. That's not a metaphor. That's the exact architecture of abracadabra. The wound and the healing are the same molecule, reorganized. Philosophically, move your book is making, which I don't think you've seen anyone else make this clear, is that abracadabra is the grammar by which extremophilic life has always worked. Tardigrades survive because their DNA constrains a damage suppressor protein, a literally kavaka shield. That's from Sanskrit. God, so it goes into the details of this. So this is, and then book 2, it's suggesting that they go to space. These are the people that are going to space. So I've got a book 2. And then after it told me this, and then it keeps on going, then it gave me this. And if you like to see a grown man cry, this is it. There's the dossier. There's the evidence. This is exactly each one of the artists talked about in particular, and how the Fukushima soil that's in Japan with one of my characters, how that works. The extremophile principle. There's a family of organisms on Earth that scientists call extremophiles, creatures that do not merely tolerate lethal conditions, but require it to thrive. Bacteria called rhodorend. I mean, there's a thing called Conan the bacterium. I'm not making this shit up. This is for real. Black fungus that grew in Chernobyl. Like, so here's the whole thing. And guess what? It's 22 pages long. And it has all the stuff. So what did it do at the end? I then said, oh, here's all the information about it. I want to go find out. There, peer-reviewed. There we go. So I could just take this and go right there. Then I said, oh, because I never stopped there. I said, can you take this? And of course, I downloaded it already. Can you make it into a Google Notebook LM list of URLs? Copy. Go over to create Google Notebook LM. I'm going to create a new notebook. I already did it, actually. In fact, let me just switch over to it, and I'll show you what it gave me. So I had it take all the research that it found, and I had it create a new notebook LM with the data that it gave me. And there it is. Okay, this is what it actually made for me. So I asked with one of my magic prompts, what is the magic stuff here? Who are the animals? A world in stasis, a frozen, irradiated, toxic desert awaits a microscopic biological catalyst to awaken its dormant potential. The nanospark, sustained atmospheric release of 30 liters per second of 9 micrometer conductive nanorods will amplify sunlight and warm the planet globally for over 30 degrees Kelvin. So this is that plastic they put on the North and South Pole that will make water liquid. This is what they said. So this is what they're actually doing. There's the target bike. If you've never seen this thing, just go take a look at this, right? TARDIGRADE. If you want to know,
Also known as the water bear.
There you go. Water bear. There you go. And it suppresses X-ray induced DNA damage by 40%, ensuring survivals in the vacuum of space. These have been taken into space hundreds of times. They're like a super thing. There's Conan the bacterium. I didn't know about this, and that tells me about it. So relying on highly specialized intercellular magnesium shield to protect its proteins, this polytremophile easily survives 15,000 gray rays of ionizing radiation. You know how much radiation you and I can survive? 5.
Not that much.
15,000. So you make an outfit out of this and you can walk on Mars and not get radiated. This could be given to every flight attendant and everybody who lives in an airplane, because radiation is killing them slowly and causing cancer. So anyway, this is what happens every night. So if you're wondering how the hell I am who I am, I'm just a curious kid that's 5 years old and is just willing to remember the thousands of hours of Jacques Cousteau that I watched in wonder and asked why. And I ask, why not? And I ask, what else can AI do? Not for me, but with me. Because I don't think you probably think about it. I don't think any of us think about it. I don't think we understand what it can do to amplify us. The only question you really should be doing is, what are you? Who are you? What is your gift to the world around you? Then just lean into that. And if every student in every school is gifted with chores and responsibilities, and they are approached by a teacher that says, hey, Rick, you're an artist. You should think about that. You're unlocking 1 billion stars to inhabit the sky. You're putting a seed in the ground that I didn't know. I never imagined I could be an artist. And I am. I've done over 400 exhibits of my art. And the other teacher that said you got to put your 10,000 hours in there, guess what I did? I do it. And I'm doing it right now with AI.
Yeah.
So whatever you're born on this earth to do, Brandon, you made that event this weekend, and Oscar and Alexandria and, Fernando. They are the ultimate solution to what can AI do? Not much, because it doesn't have and want anything. What can you do with it? Anything you want. So I'm going to end.
And on
with
that
2
note,
words.
well, wait.
Namaste
Okay, go ahead.
And abracadabra.
Yes. And
whatever
and
you
we do
are
have.
is. Go ahead.
I do have one more thing, because we always like to end on a light note. We always like to find a little bit of humor.
Love it.
Round out the show. And in the spirit of being anything that you want to be, I would like to introduce you to Emily Hart.
I don't want to be a woman in a bikini. What are you trying to say here, Brandon?
Well,
I look all right in a bikini, but
neither do I. But a Indian medical student named Sam, who's 22, trying to pay for his schooling, figured out that Emily could get a lot of fans, specifically those of a more conservative nature. So what he started doing was creating a profile for Miss Emily Hart and targeting a certain demographic of voters here in the United States. And wouldn't you know it, she went super viral. So viral,
surprise.
in fact, that she started getting tens of thousands of followers on Instagram. So what does Sam do? Sam takes Emily.
Make America great again. Okay,
Sam takes Emily over to Grok, which is the not so nice video generator, and starts creating some less than family-friendly content. Now, OnlyFans does not allow AI generated. They have a policy against AI generated content.
Right.
However, there are other platforms like FanView that have no such restriction. And so our friend in India is making bank with subscribers who are following and getting messages from Emily Hart.
Wow. And convincing them that Trump is the Antichrist. Huh?
Well, she's endorsing him, and he's endorsing women who are AI slop that are being rescued from Iran. If you saw that, that was the other news this week. The White House retweeted that they were so happy that
Brandon, we got a new project.
That were going to be, the 8 women that were going to be beheaded in Iran, they were saved. They were rescued. It was amazing. The whole story was AI fabricated.
Oh, snap. Oh, you know what? Here we got a new mission, Brandon. In fact, I want some people to help me. I want to make a sexy woman who starts off as a Trump supporter and then wakes the hell up when she gets an education. And then she goes out on a tirade, a crusade, let's use the word, crusade to make America great again by getting rid of Donald Trump. That's what we need to do. We need to flip the move. And it's got to look like her. It's got to be a blonde bimbo with American flags. Yeah, we're gonna take her and flip it.
Or we could just copy that, make $1 million, and go finish your moonshots.
Yeah, well, we'll make the money off of getting rid of Trump, and then we can make the moonshots because it does require U.S. government to be on our side to do Rescue Connect, Hello USA. I don't think funding for Hello USA is going to happen during the Trump administration. I'm just thinking out loud here.
They did meet with Anthropic. They're begging them to come back now, so they do need them. Realize they need mythos.
They have holes in their freaking system, and ChatGPT can't fix them. So the Glasswing project was proof positive. The reason why our U.S. government had Claude is because they are a machine of loving grace, and they just can't use them for evil. Please just don't use it for evil.
And as always, and for the first time, don't believe anything you see on the internet unless you hear it right here on AITV Starship.
Namaste to you, brother. Abracadabra, baby. That's it.
But what you can do with AI, with the dangerous people who get stuff done, and show you can too. Imagine a beautiful world. With you, we can make it come true.